All right, people, we have a very special guest with us today that I've been trying to get on this meeting for quite a while. This guest has achieved something just as special as our first guest, getting a very selective scholarship. And I would leave the introductions to her. I don't want to take too much of our introduction time or your time. So here's Caroline. Caroline, would you introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Caroline. I'm from Brazil. I study International Studies and Economics, double major at UW Madison. I have a full ride scholarship here, call it King Morgridge Scholarship, and that's it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, coming from Brazil to the US, that journey must have been pretty interesting. And we'll get more into that. But first, let's talk a little bit more about what that scholarship is. So, can you tell me a bit more about the King Mortgage Scholarship? What, actually, let's start with what made you apply for the scholarship in the first place?
Okay, I think my majors were like something related to politics and education at first. So actually this scholarship it's for all majors,
Mhm.
but when I apply it, I heard that they were looking for someone more related to education or politics from Brazil. So it was very connected to my extracurriculars and things I liked. So that was kind of what I was already doing for the other applications. Like I was applying as well, I think it was political science and something in education.
Mhm.
And my scholarship, like, do you want to know like all about the scholarship?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So basically, they select six students every year, from developing countries. So it includes Brazil, Latin America, South Asia, countries in Africa. So yeah, mainly Africa, Asia, South Asia, and Latin America, I would say. And yeah, it's a full ride scholarship, so it covers everything we need, like from tuition to housing, food, and extra
Mhm.
things we need, like even trips and things that are good for our academics.
Awesome. So, Caroline, how easy was it to get this scholarship? Was it easy? Was it tough? Like, tell me a bit more about that.
Easy, not easy.
Really?
I think
Not
I don't
so.
think it was easy.
Yeah.
Like I started prepare like myself to apply to study abroad after my last year of high school, but during high school I was already doing a lot of stuff that could help me, like participating in scientific Olympiads, and I already had a lot of extracurriculars because I really liked being involved with my community and everything. So that was kind of beneficial for me. But after college, after high school, actually, I still had to learn English because I didn't speak English before.
Mhm.
So my gap year was mainly to learn English and prepare for SAT that I knew was important, but when I apply it, it was kind of they were like test optional. I don't
Mhm.
know if it's because of the pandemic or is this still a big thing, but when I apply it, SAT was not that relevant. Still, I studied because can like if you come from a school that is not like they don't really know your high school and
Mhm.
nobody knows about it and you want to show that you're a good student, maybe the SAT can show like, look, I'm smart, I know math, I know English. So I was like studying for this. So yeah, I think it was not really easy because that was a lot of work involved. But I also feel like for every university or scholarship, they have a profile. And when you are what they are looking for, it's easier because you just have to be yourself. And it's kind of cliche to say it, but it's true because for me, they were looking for someone with my background. So when they found me, I was just being myself. I was just like, talking about
Yeah.
education politics, and they're like, oh, it's her. So,
Mhm.
and for the other colleges, even having like a lot to show, maybe I was not what they were looking for. So they were like, yeah, next.
So, Caroline, that's an amazing story. And just to recap, you took two gap years, correct?
Two gap years. Yeah.
And how was that experience like, learning English? How did you do that? I mean, clearly you don't have any problem right now. So how was that whole year like?
Yeah, I mainly use like internet, like YouTube videos. That's it,
Hmm.
basically, because I was learning and already doing other stuff using English at the same time, so I think that
Hmm.
helped. So I was not actually studying grammar or I was just like participating scientific Olympiads. I was in some international levels for some specific competitions. So studying for those levels, I had to like read the things in English and naturally learn um for yeah naturally learn the content and be always reading and writing English. But yeah, it took a while, and I feel like when I came here at first, my English was still like not good, so I was
Right.
still
Hmm.
learning. But as long as you understand like the context and everything, you can like
That's
keep
true.
learning and improving. Mhm.
That's true. And I'm only interested in this journey because, you took 2 gap years, and being someone who, I mean, isn't exactly the most proficient in English. That whole journey must have been kind of insane. So, what was your reaction when you found out that, you got this scholarship? Like after those 2 years that you were spending like this whole time learning English, preparing for the SAT. So, what was your reaction when you finally found out that, okay, I got this scholarship, it's finally happening?
Yeah, I was so shocked. I thought I was dreaming actually. It's crazy. It was like me for real, like I didn't really expect it because when I found out, I was already planning my third gap year. I was at the library in Brazil, in my city. We have like a public library. I
Hmm.
was there preparing my third gap year. I was like, yeah, I think my chances are were like decreasing because
Hmm.
a third gap year is kind of crazy to explain like
Right.
how like why three gap
Yeah.
years. So I was planning and then I received the email. So I was so happy. And I wasn't at home, so I couldn't tell my mom. And I didn't want to call her. So I booked a Uber like right after. And then I told the Uber guy, the driver who was the first person who heard about it. I was so happy. I was like, I'm happy. And he was like, I was like,
Wow.
I got a full ride scholarship to study in the US. And that's it.
What was the Uber driver's reaction?
He, he gave me a hug when we
Oh,
stopped in front of my house in Brazil. He literally came and he was like, "Wait, can I give you a hug?
yeah.
It seems like you worked really hard." He didn't know me, but in 20 minutes, I kind of explained my entire life, like
Hmm.
try it at least.
That's cute.
Mhm.
That's cute. What is one sentence that describes your journey to getting this scholarship? It can be one word.
One word, one sentence. I feel like being resilient. Does this word is
Yeah,
exist in English, right?
definitely. It's
Resilient.
definitely a word.
Being very resilient. Like you see your friends going to college because I was in my gap year, and I got accepted uh to go to university in Brazil, right? But I didn't accept the offer, and I kept like studying to study here. And it was really weird seeing people like living their lives and you were still at home. Like, you feel like you're late, but you're never late. I feel like people have like different time.
Hmm.
Like,
True.
yeah.
Like one question, one more, that why were you, so obsessed with the idea of studying in the US?
Because I always liked more than one thing at the same time, like
Hmm.
more than one area of study. So, back home, I was very into politics, but I also loved science. So in Brazil, unfortunately, we can choose only one major. And here in the US, we
Hmm.
can have two majors. If you are able, you can have three, four. No, four, no. But like I feel like I know people who is like studying for three majors. So you can study like different things at the same time and it's very flexible. And yeah, that was what I wanted for my
Right.
life. Yeah.
Right. Okay, yeah, that's a really good answer, especially because I really wanted to get out of Pakistan because of the same reason. I mean, there were, I think, other reasons as well, but like mainly in terms of studying, That's what I was concerned about because I did get accepted into a really good university in Pakistan, but ended up not going there. Okay, yeah, actually, one more question regarding your gap year. So, what was the reaction from your peers like and your parents when you were like, you took your second gap year? How did you explain that to them, and were they supportive?
Well, my mom was and my dad, they were always very, 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 very supportive. So they supported my decision because they knew that was a big dream. And when I want something, I try again, again, again. I don't give up easily. So I feel like it was okay for me to try again. But for other people in my family and even friends, they were like, Kara, I think like it's getting late. But I
Mhm.
knew what I wanted. And I feel like when you have a passion or during your life, I feel like nothing around really matters, like people's opinions, like they don't really matter because you have the vision and you just keep trying. And I think that was how I was feeling. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Were there any like hard moments during those two gap years?
I feel like all rejections
Oh
are
yeah,
so sad.
absolutely,
Because you got
absolutely.
one, you have to apply for like 30, 15 college. I know people that I have a friendship applied for like 80 college. Today she studies at, Duke
Duke?
University. Yes, yes, Duke
Okay.
University. I think in China.
Oh, China one, yeah. Duke's in
Yeah, and
China,
she's
yeah.
like the first Brazilian with a full ride scholarship there.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah, she took
that's
two gap
awesome.
years, I think. And yeah, I feel like there were so many hard moments because it's something that don't depend on us. Like we're doing our best, but it's still, again, if you're not what they're looking for, and when you need a full ride, the
Yeah,
pressure is different.
absolutely.
And yeah, so it was really, yeah, it was really hard, like mental health and everything. Yeah, that's the moment when you need like peers, people that had like share similar goals, even mentors.
Absolutely.
They're there like to help you, and knowing people that went through this process, it's very important because like this friend I just told you, she was like one of the people that would come to my mind when I was struggling. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Especially
Mhm.
like, the company you keep really defines who you're gonna be in the future. So it's very important to keep friends. And even in my high school journey, like I kind of did high school twice. So I shifted from one high school system after completing it into another. And the second high school was very much focused on sending people abroad, and my peers were also like all trying to go abroad. So I think that really helped me to get to where I am today. But getting into the application, what do you think made your application stand out? Was it the essays, the activities, anything else?
I think again, it's kind of cliche, but it's like a combination of everything. I feel
Hmm.
like the entire thing because you have to tell a cohesive story. You know what I mean? Like tell a story that connects. Like if you say something your personal statement, that for me was I think the strongest thing I had. But at the same time, my personal statement was very connected to my extracurriculars, and my extracurriculars were very connected to the major I wanted to pursue. So I feel like even if you have really good things, but when you put everything together, it doesn't make sense. That's a red flag, and so I feel like having an entire thing that makes sense and is aligned to your story and background, that makes a lot of difference. And I think like personal story, like especially if you need a scholarship, so you have to be different. And I feel like many extracurriculars are very similar, so they don't
Yeah,
tell a lot about our personalities. So when you write your personal statement, you're showing like who you are. And
yeah,
I remember I wrote many different versions because first I was scared to share what I wanted to share. And it's really hard actually to write about your feelings, like deep things and
yeah,
everything.
absolutely.
Yeah, but I feel like personal statements are important. And having people to
That's
like guide you during the process is very important because when I wrote the first version, for me was perfect. And then
Mhm.
my friends from like other universities here, they would read and be like, Carol, what is that? Doesn't make
Mhm.
any sense.
Yeah,
So you have to be open for like change. Proof.
definitely. Actually, just gonna ask you if you needed any help during that process, and like you said, you did. So it's always good to have feedback on your essays, especially. And now, just getting a little bit more specific, what were some of the activities you had mentioned in your application or things like that? Because I know it's very important to be different. I recently made a video on Instagram about the high school extracurriculars, and I was getting a lot of hate for it because I was telling people not to do the mainstream stuff. So, what was your application like?
Yeah, I feel like you since my high school didn't send people to the US, so
Hmm.
all the extracurriculars I was like doing were random things. So I was not like following something like many
Yeah.
people usually do. So I feel like they're kind of diverse. I think the main one maybe was the parliament. Like they have like in São Paulo, the parliament like where governators work. I
Okay.
had like a period working. Um, I don't know how to explain in English, but I would like help them to write public policies. I could like bring ideas and even like if they would approve it, they would be approved and it would like impact people in my city.
Hmm.
So I did that for 3 years during my
Oh,
high
wow.
school. It was really nice, really, really, really nice. So I was working with like 30 other students from different schools. They were selected one representing each school, and I was representing my school. And yeah, that was very important. I also was selected to be, it's like we have a department in my city that work for education, that like public education, and all the 80 schools we have with like about 80,000 students. So I was also selected to be part of that and help them with policies and
Oh,
etc.
wow.
What
That's actually
else?
so interesting because when I was in high school, I was also a part interning at the Pakistani parliament. So,
Really?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
I was there for a couple of months. I was only there for like almost 3 months, but it was a good experience. I was helping with policy drafts and I was helping take meeting notes. So it was definitely a good experience and something that helped me stand out. Although I mean, didn't really help much in my application, but as long as you have, I believe, even if your activities are kind of random, as long as you find a way to tie them together into who you are, it works out. And I think you would agree with that. Caroline, how did you deal with the university rejections during your gap year? And what were you feeling during that time?
I felt, of course, I felt bad, but like at the same time, I was like, okay, what did I do wrong? So I was always like looking for something to improve. I wanted like to understand what I was doing wrong. So I had people guiding me through the process, and I would like ask them share like my essays and ask for feedback. Um, and yeah, I try to see the rejections as like sign that something was wrong and something I still could be like I still could change something, like
Mhm.
I didn't see like as the end of everything. I was like, no, maybe first maybe just my profile is not someone like they're looking for and it's okay. Or maybe I am good, but I'm just not showing it. So let's improve it. That was what I was thinking.
Mhm. That's a good mindset to have. Always, I mean, you got to stay optimistic. It's hard to do so, but it's it's necessary. And I know a lot of people do give up and end up studying in their home countries, which I mean is fine for them. But at the same time, if you are really passionate about your goal, you can find a way to make it happen, and you just got to be resilient in that process. That's definitely something I agree with. So, Caroline, do you think you're aware of any mistakes that students make when they're in high school, like, or when they're applying for competitive scholarship?
Mm, I feel like first trying to be something they're not,
Mhm.
like do things that are not very related to their backgrounds and passions and everything. So I think it's become even harder to to do well something you don't really like. But also, don't start like early. You have to start as soon as possible. Like I started kind of late, but at the same time in high school, I was already like doing other stuff at the same time. So I feel like you have to do many things at the same time. You need extracurriculars, you have to have good academics and be like have good grades. And if you don't have good grades, you have to like show like try to how do you say compensate?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Compensate
You
with
have to.
academics or
Hmm.
if you don't no, I mean like compensate with extracurriculars, or if you don't have those good grades and maybe the SAT could be an option in this case. I feel
Hmm.
like I have friends they didn't have good GPAs, so they took the SAT to show like you see like my GPA is just not high because my high school is really hard, but look at my SAT, I'm a good student.
Yeah.
So that's like I feel like the biggest mistake is like not looking for help or no start things early, or it's many things at the same time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's true. Actually, I mean, the thing you mentioned about compensating for your grades and, with your extracurriculars, that is actually very important because I know one of the girls in my high school, she got like E's in her A levels, which is like really bad grades. So far, far worse than mine. But she ended up going to Stanford. So, like, because she was focusing on this other extracurricular, which was like the only person in the world to do that. So she was like the youngest quantum scientist from Pakistan. So she was focusing entirely on that. That's why she had bad grades, and I know she would be making TV appearances. So if you're something like that, if you're doing something like that, then you can definitely use that, as leverage when you're applying, and that can help you win.
Yeah, I feel like if I could correct my answer
Hmm.
would be not being strategic. I think that's the word.
Mm,
You need to have a
that's
strategy.
that's important.
Yeah,
That's
that was
actually
I
very
think
important.
the resume of everything I'm saying. Like
That sounds good. And lastly, if somebody watching this interview wants advice on how to achieve something like you did, like the scholarship, what should they start doing today?
I feel like they have to be very strategic, like
Mhm.
to understand the process because it involves many different things at the same time. So they have to understand the process and have a good strategy, and definitely ask for help from like learn and be open to learn more and improve your application.
That is very good advice indeed. And let's see, what advice would you give to students who feel their dreams are impossible?
I feel like if you can dream, it's very cliche, but if you can dream, I think you can make it. I know it's not everybody have everybody have different realities and different opportunities for sure. And that's the thing. That's why I took 2 gap years to
Hmm.
get here. Okay, so that's important. But I feel like you just have to make your dream your goal. So it's not something you just think about. It's something you have steps to achieve.
Yeah,
And finding people that already achieve it, your dream is the first thing. Because then you learn with their journeys and you just like follow them, basically.
yeah. So, what is one sentence or word that describes your journey to getting the scholarship?
I think resilience, it would
Hmm.
be one word.
Yeah,
Because do
definitely.
everything again and again.
Yeah,
And
it
try.
does
Yeah,
get
I can
very,
try.
early morning or late night worker.
Late night. Yeah.
Okay, this one is a little bit longer, but hardest part of the application.
Hardest part
Mm-hmm.
of the application? SAT.
SAT? Okay. What habit helped you the most during your gap years?
Yeah, so yeah, that would be networking. 100%.
Okay. One thing that gave you a competitive edge in your application.
I think my background.
What is something people think matters for scholarship, but actually doesn't?
I think grades could be a good one, especially here in the US. Like in Brazil,
Mhm.
it's only your grade.
Uh-huh.
Here,
Uh-huh.
I feel like
A
it's a
lot more.
whole.
It's a lot more. It's you as a person, really. So, okay, what motivated you to keep going when things got difficult?
My mom.
Your mom? That's, I
Mhm.
mean, it's very
My
good to have
mom.
supportive parents.
Yeah, and the people I connected. Okay, to be more specific,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
people that were studying here, good, really good universities with full rights, like people that achieve their dreams, they usually want to help other people to get
Okay.
there. I feel like people that doesn't they usually like
Final question. What advice would you give to your younger self?
keep trying. Don't listen to what people say.
Okay, that's it. Well, Caroline, that was it.